Morning. Welcome to another live interview session here at the PAME Code Facebook group with our season of courage. We have a very special guest today. She's a certified professional mindset coach and NLP practitioner. She's really good at what she does, and she's been voted by expertise as one of San Diego's best life coaches in 2016 to 2018. It's really exciting, really honored that she's here today, and she's going to talk about building courage post-divorce. I'm sure there are a lot of members in our group who will be really interested in this topic as they go through this process themselves. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Kathy Dale.
Thank you.
Hi, Kathy. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today? It's so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, thank you for joining us. I know it's 3 in the morning there in San Diego, and you're bright and early, ready to share your expertise with us today. So thank you very much for your time and for getting up this early for us. So before we start off, we would like to learn more about you and what you do. So what exactly do you do and why do you do it?
Oh, sure. So I am, I basically work with women that are post-divorce. So I am a mindset life coach for them. So I kind of help them reshape some of their views and perceptions post-divorce. A lot of times the things that they're dealing with, there's a lot of change going on in their lives, a lot of maybe fears and anxiety. They kind of have a lot of limiting beliefs that they need to work through in order to move forward to the next chapter. So these are all things that I kind of help them work through. And I do this in a variety of ways. I have quite a few different modalities that I use in my own practice. So I'm an NLP practitioner. So that, as you know, kind of you take the physiology, you take the language, a lot of this has to do with reframing things for the client and things like that. So I work with that. I do a little bit of EFT, some tapping. I just do a variety of modalities, but I kind of help them work through and create a new chapter for themselves.
So you are helping women post-divorce. How did you get into this kind of work, and why did you go down this route?
Sure. Well, for me, this was a very personal experience in my own life. I actually went through my own divorce back in 2013, and that was a second divorce for me. So this was especially hard. I really believed that that I would be married, for the rest of my life. And back in 2013, it was kind of a shocking divorce for me, and it really made me rethink a lot of things that were going on in my life. I was in a 25 plus year career in the legal field, so I was doing something completely different before this. And as I started to go through my divorce and heal and all of that stuff, I realized that maybe there was a bigger purpose for me. I realized it was a very difficult couple years for me to kind of move forward. I was really heavily involved in personal development. I started a daily meditation practice. I started to incorporate all of these things that really helped me heal. And as I did that, I realized I wanted to share that with other people. I knew that there were a lot of other women that were feeling stuck and all of these things like I was, and I was suffering from severe social anxiety. There were a lot of things that happened as a result. And when I was able to overcome those things, I knew that I had a bigger purpose, that I really wanted to share that. So I jumped careers. I completely started something different that I never thought I would do. And it's really changed my life. And I just feel like this was the divorce was a huge catalyst for that. And so that's why I wanted to help this particular group, because I really resonate closely with them.
That's beautiful. I mean, it does take a lot of courage, in your part, to have this different career path, but also going through the process of divorce, it goes through a lot of healing, and it takes a lot of courage to go through that process. So how does that work? How what's the process of healing, and where does courage go into the picture?
Wow. Well, I think courage is a huge part of it, as you said, because really it's all about change. Divorce is full of change, and everyone is so individual that not everybody is going to resonate with the same healing path. We're kind of all on our own unique journeys. I didn't have time, so that would have been another huge component of change for me, because a lot of women do worry about the effects that the divorce is going to have on their children. I moved from one state to another state, so a lot of times you're always changing your living environment. Sometimes it results in a job change, a career change. So a lot of times, as you know, as a psychologist and the work that you do too, it is change is something that's very scary to people. And with that fear, it's how you approach it. It's all in the approach and how you handle it, because intuitively, I think courage really takes knowing that there's something better that's on the other side of that. With when you step into your fear, you are really creating growth and expansion. And so that's the process that I focus on for clients, is what's on the other side of this. I want to make sure that the steps that they're taking towards overcoming their fear is going to get them where they want to go. And the important part of that is figuring out what it is that you want, because as you go through divorce, you're changing. The person that you were going into the marriage is not the person that you end up becoming. When you're coming out of that, it's like you have this new identity. Who do you want to become in this next chapter? And the things that you did, the circles that you hang around change, your family situation changes, holidays change. There's so much stuff that goes on that, I tell my clients to be patient with themselves, because, don't try to do everything all at once, because divorce itself is such a big thing. So little steps towards working, working towards whatever it is that this next goal is for them. That's the important part.
Yes, and it actually resonates with the conversation yesterday with Claudia, because you're talking about divorce. There's a lot of change, and it is scary. And when it comes to courage, there are scary things happening, and courage is about facing those scary things and dealing with it. So are there particular techniques that you can share with our members if they are going through divorce and they're feeling scared by all these changes? What can they do about that?
Yeah, I can tell you, one of the first things that was really helpful to me was having some sort of mindfulness or some sort of meditative practice. Because what happens is, fear is not always real, right? I mean, you've got actual perceived fear. And what happens is we tend to overanalyze, we tend to overthink things. And so if we can kind of get out of, you can't intellectualize fears. So you want to try to get them out of that mindset and to really pull them into a different space. And mindfulness practices, however you want to do it, it could be just going for a walk to clear your head. It could be somewhere out in nature. You could have a meditative practice. One of the things that I recommend to my clients that have a hard time with stopping the thoughts that are going on, because you really don't have to do that with meditation. It's just kind of, you're going to start to become an observer. That's the important part. You're realizing your thoughts and your emotions, these are not who you really are. These are separate entities. And so for them to have a practice like that is really helpful, because they're not constantly spinning and going on and creating these perpetuating their fears. So that's like one tip that I would really highly suggest. And if it's hard to do something more traditional, they have lots of other technologies now that help with that. So you can purchase programs. I love a program called Zen 12. It's only 12 minutes a day, but it gives you the benefit of having 60 minutes of meditation. So it brings you into that alpha. As we're in our waking state, we're in beta, but it brings you down a level, so you're in a more relaxed state to begin with. And I think that's important, because your emotions are all over the place at this time. So to just kind of ground yourself calm is a big thing.
So you were talking about all these thoughts that, women who go through divorce think about. What are the most common ones that are quite unhelpful that you've seen in your practice?
I think a a big thing through with divorce is that they're not feeling good about themselves. They tend to blame themselves for the deterioration of their marriage when that's not the case. That's not always necessary. It takes two people, right? And
Yes.
but they tend to focus more inwardly, and they tend to internalize a lot of these things, blame themselves for the marriage not working. They have fear never going to be able to find another relationship, or that somehow they're damaged or things like that. So that's a big fear. Financial fears are huge post divorce, because a lot of times the women that I work with have been stay at home moms for many
Mm.
years. And so for them, there's this fear of going back to the workforce. Like, what am I going to do? Like jumping back in after 20, sometimes 30 years. It's a very scary thing for people to feel like they have to start over. And, so those are probably two of the most common things that I see.
Yes, I agree. I've heard of this, from friends or, family members who have gone through divorce. They tend to blame themselves, and, they overthink and they worry about a lot of things because, when change happens, as it does in divorce, you have to deal with it and, face these changes and, face your fears. And you mentioned, um, going through all these these inner thoughts, being aware of these and challenging them, and also meditation. Do you
Right.
have any other techniques that you could share?
Sure. I think reframing is another really good one, because I think that, we tend to, I ask my clients to, come up with, like, their worst case scenario. What is it that is going on? Kind of explain to me, what are the thoughts that are kind of going on in your head? And as they start to say, it's like, okay, well, let's reframe that into something that is more supportive, or more empowering, because I, I think the talk is huge in a lot of this. And if you can really pay attention to the language that you're saying and kind of reframe it, that's really helpful, because a lot of times, people are afraid to do this, can't do this. And it's like the subconscious mind works, you know, with possible visualization. So I invite them to say things like, I wonder if, open up possibilities, perhaps. And then this starts engaging the subconscious mind to think of solutions. So they're becoming more solutions oriented rather than problem focused, which I think is helpful too.
That's fantastic. I think that's really useful. So instead of just focusing on the problem, recognizing that the problem is there, but really getting past that and moving on, moving forward. So have you seen, in terms of your clients, for example, what progress does reframing do to them? Do you have any stories to share with us,
Oh,
in this respect?
yeah. I think that a lot of my clients end up building confidence. That's exciting for me to see, because I actually take them through quite a few exercises, and some of them are really really fun for them. Every week, as part of the assignments that I give them, they're just different things that resonate with different people. But one of the things that I did for one of my clients was challenging them to step outside of their comfort zone. That's another really big thing in
Mm.
marriage and everything too. But one of my clients had never been to the movies by herself, and so this is a big deal for her. She's so used to being around her kids, around the ex-husband, that she never did a lot of things for herself. Out to dinner by yourself is scary sometimes if you haven't done it before. Going to a movie, and so I said, well, can you try that this? Why don't we just kind of put that on the plate and see if you can do it? Well, she goes to the movies, and this was the funny part. I get a text message from her. She gets to the movie theater, and the movie reel had completely stopped. So she's sitting in this dark theater. It's already uncomfortable for her because she didn't want to go to begin with. But then she started to realize through this process, she's eating popcorn, she's sitting in this theater going, what am I doing here? But as she sat there, she realized, oh, if this is the worst thing that could happen, it's really not that bad. And then the next week, she took herself and saw a movie again. So she worked through that part of it, which was exciting. And another exercise that I like to give my clients is to have them write a letter to themselves from somebody else that loves them, to kind of build confidence and to say, like, if you step back, this is how you're perceiving yourself. Let's look at how other people see you. So, say it's the best friend, say it's somebody else in their life that really values them. I just remember, some of my clients were crying during this process because they realized how they see themselves, their self-image was so unrealistic, how other people view them. That was a really powerful exercise for them, because then it started to build their esteem. They started to regain some of that self-worth they had lost.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kathy. That was really, really useful stuff. For our members, who's going through divorce or still in the healing process, we understand that going through divorce is a scary process. It's full of change, and change, it triggers a lot of fear. But the thing is, with courage, you can conquer that fear, embrace the change and have that confidence to move on. So, Kathy, if our members would like to know more about building courage post divorce, or to know more about what you do and how you can help, where can they get the information?
Oh, sure. They can reach me on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. They can just go to my personal profile, Kathy Dale. I also have a free support group for women post-divorce. So that one is Conscious Pathways Life After Divorce. I would love to have people come in and join. I offer free trainings. I'm thinking about putting together a little program now on your Facebook groups. You can kind of create some material for them. So I do Facebook Lives. I just offer a lot of free resources there. So, if they want to reach out to me that way, I'd love to have them join the group too.
Fantastic. Thank you once again, Kathy. It was really, really interesting and inspiring. And I hope we managed to reach members who would find value in this, and they will reach out to you as well if they need more support.
Thank you so much, Emmy. I really appreciate you. And I honor being on your show.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathy. Have a nice day.
You too. Take
Bye
care.
for now.
Bye.
Bye.